Okay, let's do this. Hey everyone, it's Mad Witch here, and today we're gonna dip our little toes in some spirit boards, or Ouija boards, or talking boards. They have a lot of names. So spirit Ouija or talking boards were first introduced as a mere parlor trick by a man named Elijah Bond, July 1st, 1890. It didn't really become a popular form of divination until a spiritualist named Pearl Kernam used it as a way to talk to spirits around World War I. Although some spiritualists claim to have used a board that's very similar as soon as 1886. A lot of people do believe that you're opening a portal to a different world, you're letting demons in and out, and a bunch of evil and bad stuff. And frankly, I believe that's mostly because of the media. Other people do also believe that you're just the one moving it. Like, subconsciously, your brain is moving around the planchette. This is also something that I sort of believe. However, putting it all together, I believe that, yeah, you are the one moving it, but instinctively, you're picking up on the, emotions and the wavelengths of spirits that are around you, and your subconscious is sending that to your fingers to move around the planchette and spell out answers to your questions. That doesn't mean that I don't believe something bad can come through. Something bad can come through with, any divination. That's why, if you're going to use a Ouija board, I do suggest having some sort of protection. You can cast a whole circle, or you can just have a talisman, or just a rock. A very specific rock. Some good ones would be black tourmaline, onyx, jet. Basically, if it's a black stone, it will probably help. Now, spirit board itself can be as fancy as, sanded wood with wood-burnt letters and an ornate planchette, or it can be a piece of paper with a bottle cap. All it needs are the words yes, no, goodbye, the alphabet, and the numbers 1 through 9 plus 0. This is a Ouija board that I made. I was going to burn it, but my wood burner broke, so I also made this planchette. Here and here, I have sigils that basically mean I am protected from malicious spirits, so nothing should be getting through this board if it's evil. Precautions are always good. So personally, I have a few rules that I think you should follow. You don't have to. Everyone does things differently. But here is how to use and some helpful tips that I hope will help you if you do decide to use a Ouija board. Which you shouldn't if you have no protection. I do definitely suggest doing a lot more research than this video before you go off and use a Ouija board. So first off, you want to pick a medium. Someone who's going to be ahead of the operation. Someone who is hopefully experienced in this stuff and knows how to do it well. This person will be the one asking questions. You can ask questions if you're not the medium, but you need to, say them quietly for the medium to repeat, because this is not your time to talk. This is the time for spirits who have had no voice for a very long time to talk. Basically, what you're going to do is put your fingers on the planchette very lightly and move it in 3 clockwise circles. The medium should start with a simple yes or no question, such as, is anyone with us? And they should definitely only do this after stating very clearly that they will only be speaking to beings of light and love and happiness and goodness, and they will not be speaking to any evil or malicious entity. Be patient. These people are dead. They're kind of tired. Let them build up some strength to actually answer you. You're not going to get an instant yes or no answer, and if you do, exercise caution, because that thing is strong, and you don't want it getting out. Here are some rules that I suggest you always follow. Always listen to your medium. Your medium has most definitely had more experience than you, and if they tell you to say goodbye, you say goodbye. You run that planchette over to the word goodbye, and you spell it out, and you say goodbye, because that medium knows what's up, and you listen to them. 2, a really blatant one, never taunt or mock a spirit. What's wrong with you at that point? You shouldn't goad them on. They know a lot more than you, I guarantee. Do not insult them or taunt them or like, be like, hey, prove that you're here. Don't do that. That's stupid. Rule number 3, be skeptical. Spirits are people. They can lie. If they say that they're your grandmother long dead, be skeptical. Even if they, like, answer a bunch of questions only your grandmother could know, chances are they can know it too. So be skeptical. Always have a little bit of doubt in your mind that that isn't who you are talking to. Don't use your Ouija board in a cemetery. This is a place for spirits to rest and sleep and be happy and peaceful. Literally, rest in peace. Using a Ouija board in a cemetery is doing the opposite. Don't use a Ouija board in a cemetery. That's a good way to get an angry spirit attached to you. Don't do that. Like I said earlier, be quiet. It's their turn to talk. Ask serious questions. Don't joke about things. Like I say to my clients when I give tarot readings, if you ask me a ridiculous question, you're going to get a ridiculous answer. Although their answer might not be as funny or humorous as mine would be. Don't use your board if you aren't in a safe state of mind. If you're depressed, if you're on drugs or alcohol, just don't use a board because you can't figure out if something is wrong because your intuition is all clogged up. Don't leave the planchette on the board. If there's no fingers on it, that's a good way for things to get out. And that's not to say that things are trapped in the board. I don't believe that. But, like, it's an easier way for them to get into the physical world where they can wreak havoc. So don't leave the planchette on the board. Always close your session by running the planchette over goodbye and saying goodbye. Because if you don't close the session, then things are still open to get out and onto your life. This is another thing that's very similar to tarot. Don't ask about the afterlife or death or the future. Don't, like, ask for lottery numbers, basically. Don't ask about when you're gonna die, because no one should be privy to that information. Don't ask about the afterlife, because terrible things are gonna happen. That's another thing that you're not supposed to know. Don't ask about the future, such as, am I gonna win the lottery? Because that's not information that you need to know. And you're probably not meant to win the lottery. Obviously, like I said before, there's always a faint fear about what's gonna happen, like it's an evil thing because of the media. Which, again, I don't agree. It can be a very useful tool of divination. You just need to know how to use it properly and probably have protection, unless you are super experienced. One thing that is notorious for coming through Ouija boards is a demon named Zozo, or Zaza, or Baba, and I don't know, it's just a silly, ridiculous trickster spirit who wants nothing but to harm you. So there are a few signs of a spirit trying to get into the physical plane, including Zozo. And if you see any of these signs, immediately say goodbye. Immediately close out the session and have everyone else participating do so as well. If the planchette starts running through the alphabet in order or counting down through the numbers, this means something's trying to get into the physical world. If the planchette is moving in a figure 8, if it begins to hit all 4 of the corners, or if the planchette straight up flies off the board, close the session, something's trying to get out. Telltale signs that you are talking to Zozo, which, by the way, people say that if you just say his name, he knows and he, like, starts to show up, so maybe I'll start saying that name less. If the spirit says that its age is 0, that's probably Zozo. If the planchette starts to move from Z to O repeatedly, or Z to A repeatedly, or B to A repeatedly, then it's Zozo. There's a lot of questions about what you should do if you do contact an evil spirit. Personally, I'm gonna say cleanse the stuff, burn some sage, sprinkle some salt water, do what you need to do. Don't burn your board. That just seems like a waste of a good Ouija board to me. And it's very theorized that if you burn the board, you're just letting everything out into the physical plane, which is not what you want. So if you've cleansed the board and it's still giving you a whole bunch of trouble, try burying it. Bury the board and the planchette separately with some salt, or sprinkle some salt water over where you bury them, and leave them there for a long time and come back to them. You can leave them there forever. Or after that, after you bury them, put salt water on them, leave them out there for about a month, maybe less, depends on what you feel is right, how much the spirit's been griefing you. Then you can dig them back up and use them again, after cleaning them. I'm going to say again, if you use a Ouija board, make sure you know what you're dealing with. Don't just use this video because I skipped over some stuff. There's a whole lot more than what I'm just gonna say in here. Do your own research, get yourself some protection. If you have, like, an experienced witch friend or occultist friend or someone who knows what's up with Ouija boards and you just really, really want to use them, then go for it and ask their help. I'm not going to tell you not to use the board because I can't control that and it'd also make me a hypocrite, but do definitely know what you're dealing with. That's all in this subject. This is Mad Witch, signing out. Keep it spooky.